and also understanding your child's learning style, and that each style is valid and important and beautiful and unique. And I remember my middle child, who happens to be an intellect, and he is the one who went back to public school. He used to say to me sometimes, I feel like the black sheep of the family because my brother and sister are so creative. And we would all say to him, but you're so special in your own unique way. Look at what you can do. And being able to appreciate those unique qualities and finding them in children. Sometimes it can be something so simple. It can be the way they think about the world, how they answer a question, how they organize a grocery list, how they do the laundry, how they talk to their brother or sister.
Oh, Marilyn, are you there?
I am.
What? We had a little interference on the line there.
Yeah.
And I loved what you were saying, too, because it's true, because then we don't expect our children to be like everybody else's children, or even like ourselves, or what we want them to be. Instead, we're appreciating them and valuing them for who they are, whether they're the outgoing star or an introverted deep thinker. We're really identifying what their strengths are and just helping them to be their best.
Absolutely. I always like to say that every child is a living human treasure. And that means that each facet is as beautiful as the other, they might be completely different. And I love the idea that children have innate interests and talents. One child might be interested in animals, another might be interested in beautifying their home. Things that you will see as adults that develop into professions are there in children in the early stages and just need to be nurtured. And one of the great things that homeschooling does is it protects children. I know that a lot of times when new families are coming to homeschooling, there's often the question, well, if I protect my child, am I not preparing them for the world? And the analogy that I like to use is that children are like little plants and trees, and if you keep pulling them out of the soil, they won't grow. But if you protect them and give them that space and nurturing, then you're giving them the chance to develop those dreams and those talents and that ability.
Yesterday, we spoke with John Assaraf. It's a fascinating interview, and he talked about the importance of visualization. He's talking about kind of brain mapping and the reticular activation system, all these big words that we didn't understand at the beginning of the interview, but we had a good feel for by the end of the hour. And he was talking about how important it is to, like athletes, how they visualize themselves making the shot.
Exactly.
You know, so how can we help our children visualize their path in life and their goals coming true?
Well, one of the best ways that you can do that is by one of the things that I would recommend is doing a lot of field trips and actually enacting various opportunities. Going with your children to see ice skaters, or going to a farm and working on the farm, visiting another city or town, learning about people, meeting with people, reading about people, and creating stories about children who are doing things in the world, learning about them, interviewing them, and participating in activities such as volunteering. Anything that will give a child a chance to activate a part of their brain that isn't normally activated in the normal circuit of their life helps to expand their thought processes and their premises.
Now, when your daughter announced that she wanted to direct movies?
Yes.
So how did you support her in her dream?
I honestly, Rebecca, I thought, I can't imagine how she's going to do this. This is, the percentages are so low. But what I said to her is, that sounds like a really, really great idea. How can I support you? And she said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a company to let me make a commercial for them. And she actually did. She went to Naked Juice, and she told them she wanted to make a commercial. They gave her all the free juice she wanted, and she shot a commercial. And she got all her talent together. She got the various stores to give her the film she needed. She was able to get the cameras, and she started creating her own films. Now, this gave her a sense of confidence, and she did a very cute, sweet first job. From there, I talked to her about apprenticing so she could develop clearly defined skills. And so she went to all the different movie studios and offered her services. And they love, apprenticing is one of the best things you can do as a homeschooler. And people who have great talent love to support homeschooled children and to share with their wisdom. And so she apprenticed through a number of the large studios, and through apprenticing she was actually given opportunities, and each opportunity led to the next opportunity until she was actually finally signed by one of the agents and was making her own TV commercials and music videos. And it was a process, for sure. I mean, a process that took about 4 to 5 years. But she had nothing to stop her. There were no impediments in the way. No one who was saying, you cannot do this. I mean, there was no objections. There was absolute faith that this was her interest and her talent. And it definitely was an example of letting a child step out into their own area and to create it. And I'm so thankful that I at no time said to her, you can't do this, or are you kidding? Do you know how hard it is to make this happen?
So if your child, if you notice that they had an interest in or a gift in science or math, then you might rack your brain and say, what kind of apprentices can they do in this area? Are you thinking real-world applications, and maybe you set them up to work with an inventor or with someone in the lab, kind of exposing them to all this? Because maybe not everyone's able to articulate or know exactly that they want to be a director.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of finding. First of all, mentors are available all over the world, and they come in all forms. And many, 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 many people, whether you know them closely or not, will have an interest in mentoring a child if asked. I've spoken to people all over the country and just asked them to step in and work with a child, and it's phenomenal the amount of people who will do that because it fulfills their life purpose. Another thing is that I've directed families towards various organizations even as large as NASA, and some of the larger museums and universities have programs that children can access and participate in and become active in. They have graduate students who are interested in mentoring, and oftentimes you can find areas of different institutions that will allow a child to apprentice even from a distance.
And, of course, the advantage of homeschooling is that you're available during the day when everyone else is at school, and you just have generally more time available.
Absolutely. And there's nothing more beautiful than a child who desires to learn something, and there's nothing greater than for an adult to be able to impart that information to that child. I have found that presenting the need to professionals all around the world has evoked in them a tremendous desire to help. Everything from having children apprentice at a chimpanzee orphan farm in Zimbabwe to helping at a whale museum in Iceland. The resources in the world are phenomenal in terms of people desiring and wanting to help if given the opportunity. And
of course, now your children had an advantage too, Marilyn, in that they saw you with your dream. They saw you on your knowing your purpose and on your path.
Yes.
So what do you do then? What about for the mother or father who don't really know what their purpose is yet? How can they help their children?
That's such a great question because it's so intrinsically important. Well, the nice thing about homeschooling is that the parent is learning along with the child. So we're students together. So as your child is developing their dream, a parent has a chance to reconnect with their own dream inside themselves. And as you're encouraging your child, you as a parent can be encouraging yourself, whether it's taking those dance classes that you never took, or the bicycling tour you never did, or learning to write the book you wanted to write. And as a child is getting in touch, so can a parent. And I just feel that it's never too late to become who we really are, and that all we need to do is take this step along with our child and to appreciate ourselves, because it takes our confidence in ourselves and believing in ourselves and finding our own mentors and own support people. Oftentimes when we're homeschooling, our focus is on making sure that our child has everything they need. It's really important for the parents, especially the moms, to make sure that they're being supported and nurtured as well, so that when they have the strength to help their child, but two, that they're becoming and developing